Hey, back at the pond. Been about 2 weeks since I was last here. We had the beast from the east, so it was absolutely freezing. It would have been all iced over, -10 on the wind chill, so there was no way I was coming down here to do any filming, especially in the water. But that is what we're going to do today. So we've got Nauticam underwater housing, beautiful big wide angle lens once the camera goes in there. You are the camera at the moment. And we're going to take a nice recce around the pond. Then after that we will, if I'm not too cold, put on a macro lens and hopefully try and get a few shots of some wildlife. I've done a little walk around. There's not any frogs, but there's a lot of newts in there. Hopefully we'll get a few shots of those. And as you can see, I've got my wetsuit on. It's a freediving suit. As you can see, it's quite fetching, sort of Superman kind of vibe with my Y fronts. It's a 7mm suit and then it doubles up as 14 over my chest. So I'm going to be nice and warm, hopefully, when I'm in there. But it's fresh water, it's going to be cold, it's going to be very cold. And we'll see how we do. But it's been a day of contrast because carrying all of this here, carrying 10 kilograms of lead and all of this, diving fins and things. I mean, these are light, but still extra stuff to carry. Didn't bring any food, forgot. Stupid. So enjoy, let's see what we get. Okay, slightly grumpy note there. I do apologise. It is 6 in the morning. I left the house at 4:30. I'm about to get into cold water and I left my breakfast at home. Grumpy, who wouldn't be? Moving on, into the pond. Always a little bit nerve-wracking when you first submerge the camera into the water, but everything seems to be working perfectly, watertight, and as scuba divers would say, in sign language of course, because we're underwater, everything is okay. I'm slowly just pulling myself along the bottom here, trying not to stir up the sediment with my fins, and the first thing I'm noticing is the colour of the water. Delicious turquoise. Ponds are normally a brown or a green kind of hue, but this is spectacular. And the visibility is about 2 to 3 meters, which if I was in the ocean would be pretty awful, but for a pond that is epic. Second thing I noticed is this giant lazy goldfish asleep in the weed. I hadn't seen fish down here before, so this was the last thing I was expecting to see. Clearly an invasive species, probably started off his life as a prize in a plastic bag at Newt Fair and has somehow ended up down here. Seems to be doing pretty well for himself though, big chunky boy. There's a few more fish kicking around and most of this weed that they're swimming in is called Ella deer weed. The easy way I remember that name is that it sounds like saying hello dear with a Mexican accent. Hello dear. Ella deer weed is also an invasive species. It's originally from North America and we brought it to Europe to oxygenate our garden ponds and our aquariums, and eventually, like the goldfish, it found its way into our native bodies of water, ponds and lakes, etc. and it seems to be doing very well for itself. Clearly doing a great job of oxygenating this pond, releasing bubbles of oxygen into the water, which frustratingly keep landing on my lens. This is me cleaning the bubbles off my lens, and I can't do it quick enough because I've just seen my first underwater newt. Look at this awesome little creature. Come on, get the settings on the camera quicker, Ross. Get it in focus, you're fumbling it, you're gonna miss it, and it's gone, you've cooked it. Moving on, there'll be more of them. Let's get the torch on, and let's go into the cave and see what's back there. Just swimming under the lip of the cave here, following the walls of the cave towards the back into darkness, and you can see I'm just tucking into it now. I'm becoming a silhouette and submerged into pitch blackness. Very spooky under here. I'm just coming towards the back wall of the cave, coming out of the darkness. What do I find? There are goldfish everywhere back here. There's gold hidden at the back of this cave, and it's not nuggets, there are fish everywhere. And there's a toad there as well, look at him go. Oh, I'm sorry buddy. The last thing you expected to see was a giant human with a torch. There he is, just hiding up on the wall of the cave. So many goldfish. That big one maybe was the mother of all of them, and they've just multiplied back here. And as I'm watching them, I notice from the corner of my eye, a light source underwater coming from the cave wall. And down here there's obviously some sort of tunnel pokes out in the front of the pond, so you can just see there the fish silhouetted under the archway. I'm not going to swim through right now, I don't think I'd fit through with my camera, but pretty cool to see that that's their secret tunnel. I did a bit of research since last time I was here and I found out that this is actually part of Gravel Hill Mine, and this particular mine was where they would extract iron ore from the cliffs. So there are mine shafts in the water beneath me here, and as I just swim along the walls you can see these man-made structures where the rocks have been purposefully lined up on top of each other. Just made my way back to the front of the cave so I can just stand up for a minute. It's awesome back there. There's so many fish. One little toad. Wasn't expecting to see all those fish though. That was strange. But very cool. Beautiful colour. Just like the aquarium. Had to come back and stand up because I was trying to stay afloat back there in pitch blackness. It was not easy. I'm wearing all the diving weights that I would normally wear in the sea, and salt water you're a lot more buoyant, so right now I'm in fresh water, which meant I was quite sinky. It wasn't that easy, but it was awesome, pretty spooky too. This bit's got some really cool structures of the mine below it, so I'm going to have a little look at those and then make my way back out to shallower water so I can catch my breath properly. I'll see you there. This section of the pond seems especially deep, so I just do a dive down, sinking through the floating sediment. Quite trippy how it just hangs in the water in complete stillness in the dark. And out of the darkness, these old girders and mine structures, kind of like a shipwreck down here, really eerie, ooky spooky, ghost-like appearance. I do a few more dives exploring this underwater structure, but I'm getting very cold now. I've been in the water for a few hours. I'm going to make my way back out towards the front of the pond, try and find a few newts, and then make my way back home along the cliff path and get that breakfast in me that I left at home. Okay, alright, just about packed up. I'm very cold, but not as bad as I was anticipating. I'm glad that I chose to do this week when there's beautiful blue skies and the sun's actually really helping to warm me up, which is nice. The pond, I already know it was sick, but I hope you also agree now. There's loads of fish at the back, wasn't anticipating that. Goldfish everywhere, and I now know there's a little swim through just here if you wanted to go through the cave and poke back out the front, or a shortcut to the back of the cave. I didn't swim through it. I was a bit apprehensive, scared, you might say, to do that on my own, because it is very dark and I don't really know what's back there. A lot of mining equipment or whatever, who knows. Somebody also walked past just now and told me that it's called Dead Man's Cave. I didn't know that. But I had a great time in Dead Man's Cave, and then just before I got out, lots of newts, and there was two little ones getting a bit fruity, and the male was wafting pheromones in the lady's face. Not so gentlemanly, but you know, they're newts. Yeah, excellent. I'll leave you with some footage of that, and I will see you for Spawn episode 2. Thanks, see you next time.